really need is Wi-Fi. Getting money on DeFi, mega cash on M.I.M.S. You better run when the runners run. Show you how to get your money up. Dollar inflated like bubble gum. Markets are jumping like double dutch. Buying up gold till I get a ton.
All right. Welcome into the show, everyone. It is Tuesday, April 15th, tax day. So hopefully you guys will be getting some big refunds back here soon. We have an awesome show tonight talking about the most undervalued asset and some amazing partnerships with real world assets and our nodes that are kicking out tokens right now. As always, I got my good brother here, Ricardo Hamilton, aka M.I.M.S, making it make sense. What a day, bro. We're not gonna spill the tea, but we've been having some fun.
Yeah. You know, we control our environment. We don't let our environment control us. You know, that's the beautiful thing about those who have that real focus and dedication and see the bigger picture. You know, there's the micro situation that you're dealing with in a macro environment, you know, and when you look at the big picture and when you see really where things are going, not based on, you know, the circumstances right now, but the opportunity, you know, you're always excited because you know that it's just a matter of time before the reality that you know is going to take place actually manifest right before your eyes. So yeah, brother, we pumped up and excited just because we know where the future is going and opportunities that we hold for people, man. But yeah, we got another great show for y'all. What's going on with you?
Whew. Well, you know, man, reaching out to lots of people, excited for new adventures that we're getting ourselves into, but we're going to hold that for now tonight. And again, guys, I know a lot's going on. There are so many distractions. You know, the whole Trump trade tariff thing has the markets going crazy. But again, you have to understand this is giving you the opportunity of a lifetime if you stay focused and get into the right assets. Now, before we talk about the most undervalued asset in the whole planet right now, we want to bring you guys some huge updates, some huge partnerships. Okay, as you guys know, we have been talking about real world assets being tokenized on the blockchain. And that reminds me, I got to pull up an article here. Okay, so we are working with T7X, an asset exchange. We are working with Trusted Smart Chain that are producing tokens for us now. These tokens will be utilized for when money moves from investors to real world assets and when real world assets pay out dividends. So here's the exciting news, M.I.M.S. We've had some huge partnerships this week, and let me get it on the right screen. Trusted Smart Chain put this out this week, and it is just giving so much trust and credibility and transparency and really credibility, right? So these are the partnerships that were announced. They are instrumental in strengthening our infrastructure, enhancing security, and supporting our mission to deliver a reliable and cutting-edge platform. So Persona, our identity verification partner, used by companies like Robinhood, DoorDash, and Square. Persona ensures seamless and secure onboarding for our users. So M.I.M.S, I love here. These are the companies Trusted Smart Chain is making partners with. And what I love is seeing they are already being used by industry leaders. And now they're also going to be used by Trusted Smart Chain. So for me, this is massive to seeing them partnering with titans in this industry.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes sense. You know, the big boys got to play with the big boys.
Chain Analysis, the global leader in blockchain and intelligence. Now, the big one is M.I.M.S, a powerful integration tool that provides T7X with a unique identifier across all systems. This enhances our operational visibility and efficiency. And I wanted to bring them up for a little bit because I had heard of them, but I'd never really done a deep dive. So I just want to show you guys their website really quickly so you can tell, you know, how massive this partnership is. So this is nomics.io. Welcome to your safer, faster, more agile portfolio. So what does Nomics do? take advantage of tokenization's most transformative benefits like speed, cost savings, and security all in one place. And again, here's that word, M.I.M.S, always compliant, right? That's the big difference with what Trusted Smart Chain is doing and everyone else out there. Your journey begins with a single asset. What will you tokenize first, right? So the M.I.M.S specializes in helping companies tokenize real world assets, an all-in-one solution, compliance-focused smart contracts, savings and speed. So they're dealing with the KYC, the wallets, the token engine, the on-ramp and the off-ramp, and then the trading. So this, again, this is what M.I.M.S does. They tokenize assets. M.I.M.S, let me pull up an article I didn't have ready, but if you can maybe, again, explain how huge assets on the blockchain are going to be.
Yeah, I mean, folks, what we're seeing is the infrastructure being built, the value right before our eyes. We talk about this all the time, why you want to capitalize on this industry, which we're talking about is the tokenization of real world assets. People have to understand that everything in the real world is getting uploaded on the blockchain. Okay. And there are companies, there are businesses, there are platforms that are going to be facilitating that transition. And we have the opportunity to capitalize on that. So that's just what gets really exciting. It's just putting your money into assets, digital assets, software that is going to reward you every single day for being a pioneer, for being early, for being one of the first people to support an ecosystem that is literally facilitating the transition of Web 2 to Web 3, the tokenization of assets and everything else. And so when you see, T7X, Trusted Smart Chain, and you see these partnerships and you see these developments and you see these things that they're doing for compliance and regulatory clarity and things of this nature, it just lets you know that you're dealing with them top notch and next level. Like we said, it's the only blockchain that requires every asset to be registered with a Reg A and Reg D with the SEC, and then more and more developments and great things are coming out. So we're very excited about that. So if you have not taken advantage, you definitely need to be putting yourself in position, because today's price is not going to be tomorrow's price.
That's right.
Take advantage.
So again, guys, you don't have to take our word for it. This is from CNBC. Tokenization of the market from stocks to bonds to real estate is coming, says BlackRock, the biggest asset manager in the world. CEO Larry Fink, if we can solve one problem. So he is saying all of these will be tradable online on a blockchain. He says this concept of tokenization would revolutionize financial ownership and investing. But one big cybersecurity challenge stands in the way: digital verification. Yeah. Every asset can be tokenized, Fink wrote in his recent annual letter to investors. Unlike traditional paper certificates signifying financial ownership, tokens live securely on a blockchain, enabling instant buying and selling and transfers without paperwork or waiting, much like a digital deed. Fink says it would be nothing short of a revolution for investing. Think 24-hour markets and a trading settlement process that can be compacted down into seconds from a process that today can still take days, but with billions of dollars reinvested immediately back into the economy. But there's one big technological problem: the lack of coordinated digital identity verification. So guess why this is so huge. Okay, that's exactly what M.I.M.S does. Is we're not just doing verifiable ID on the Trusted Smart Chain or T7X. With M.I.M.S, they have an API or something where we can now function with dozens, if not hundreds or thousands of other systems, and their technology is able to keep that ID and knowing what's going on, along with persona. So if this is being used by Square, which is running credit cards, it's being used by Robinhood, which is, people buying and selling stocks on an app. And now you have M.I.M.S that's integrating this into multiple systems. So again, T7X is so far ahead of where other blockchains are because of their experience in doing this, over 30 years combined, bringing over 100 companies public to Wall Street, to the stock exchange. These guys know what they're doing. Huge here. Again, we're working with DFNS, a cybersecurity leader trusted by top names like Coinbase, right? We are working with the best of the best partners here with real world assets where we are able to get digital rewards every day because we got our trusted smart chain nodes.
Yep.
Mims, I'll give you the last word and then we'll move on.
Yeah, I mean, look, value, over, hype, substance, over speculation. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we get excited about because we're looking for those long-term plays, things that have that ability to last, and create real value, generational, life-changing value. And we definitely believe that T7X is leading the way with their structure and how they're putting their ecosystem together. So, you can sit on the sidelines and watch, or you can get in the game and start receiving some digital assets in your wallet every single day for the rest of your life right now.
Amen, brother. If you guys want to take advantage and learn how you can profit from the tokenization of real world assets onto the blockchain, reach out to Ricardo and I, and we will help you guys get started. But let's file this one up again, Ricardo. Another, we told you so. Gold at $3,287, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Another all-time high.
Yes, all-time high.
Market cap at 22 trillion. Mims.
Yeah, get ready.
We're out of the wilderness. We're out of the wilderness. We were saying this when gold was 1,700, 1,800 consistently every week, every day. Buy gold, buy silver. Once again, we have been proven correct.
Yeah. Folks, I'm telling you, act fast. This is a signal. This is a sign. This is a wake-up call. Okay. There's a problem with the financial system and the global trust in fiat currency. And that's why you're seeing a rise in gold. It's not, Main Street that's buying gold right now. It's the central banks, it's the governments, they're pushing up this price. And it's because they're losing faith in the system, in the fiat system. And we're in the Great Reset right now. We're in the Great Reset. So you need to have these physical and digital assets. We've been going live for years, warning, letting people know. And we're seeing, come to reality, the prices of these assets rise. Gold is still undervalued. I'm telling you right now, the U.S. government has an ounce of gold valued at, what is it, $42, Mike?
$42.22.
$42.22 is the U.S. government's valuation of ounce of gold. When we know ounce of gold right now is over $3,200, might as well say $3,300.
Yep.
So gold is massively undervalued still. I told people we're probably going to get it reevaluated to $50,000 to $70,000 an ounce. Might see it by the end of the summer. There's some radical shifts going on right now. But yeah, folks, we've been telling them, Mike, get gold, but silver still hasn't took off yet. Silver is definitely where you want to be.
Oh my goodness. So if you guys didn't figure it out yet, right? Gold, just blasting off, guys. Let's look at this here, right? I mean, 3,200. What's that website, Ricardo, that has those
goldprice.org or
what is that?
Silverprice.org. Silverprice.org.
Yeah, that's what I want. There we go. All right, and actually, I want to see. Let me just see the gold one. That one's here too, isn't it? I just go to.
Well, it has gold there. Yeah, you just.
Yeah. So I mean, let's just look at gold price performance here.
You can go to goldprice.org. Okay, yeah, it's right there. Yeah, I mean, on the year, 35% on the year. Okay. People get excited
gold
about
here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just saying, yeah, you got it. Yeah, on the year, 35% so far. And obviously, we still have a lot of uncertainty in the markets. And, I believe gold is going much higher. It's a lot of volatility. A lot of people's 401ks are, in the mix right now. But it's gold that's rising. And, to do 35% a year is just awesome because remember, gold is not an investment, really. It's how you hedge. It's how you save. It's money insurance. It's how you preserve your value. Gold will never go to zero. It's a tier 1 asset, has zero risk associated to it. It's real money, constitutional money, money all around the world. So this is what people need to have in their portfolio. And this time, if I had a 401k, anybody got 401ks out there, I'll be getting it redirected, and I'll be getting it into a gold IRA or something of that nature. I would not be trusting this stock market right now with everything that's going on. But gold, yeah, gold is performing very well.
I wanted to see the gold performance, but we can look at the silver performance. It's obviously not as good as gold right now, but still, 113%.
Type in goldprice.org. Just take silver out of there and type in gold price to see if we can pull that up. It might come up differently. Yeah, just take out the silver and just type in gold price. Because we do want to see that performance over time from the visual is a great visual. Great visual. Because it's how you save your money, folks. When we talk about saving your money, not exposing it to risk. And when you look at 2008 financial crisis, when you look at, the Y2K, the bubble, .com bubble, you know what I mean? Like when every 10 years or so, there's a massive correction in the market because they overvalue the stocks, they hyperinflate the market. There's no real price discovery for assets. Companies are buying back their stock and everything. It's all rigged, manipulated, derivatives, paper contracts. There's not a real market. So it always corrects. And unfortunately, it corrects at the wrong time for Main Street when people are trying to retire and whatever have you. And so, we're seeing, if you listen to Ray Dalio and some other people, some people were calling for possibly a recession. Some people believe it's going to be way worse because we're dealing with a reset. If you're looking at Jim Rickards, Jim Rickards, wrote a book, The Case for Gold, and he talks about the currency wars. He talks about the tariff wars. We're in that right now, accelerating faster than ever. These were concepts, but now they're reality. And so, things are going to pick up quick. So don't think you had that much time, but you got it up, Mike? Is it, look like you froze there a little bit, at least visually. I can hear you typing though.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that website is
the website. Okay.
Something happened. So no one needs to see me. I'm not that good looking, but as long as you guys can hear me, that's all that matters. I still got my brain. If I lose my looks.
Yeah. Your face is frozen, but it's a good shot of you. You look focused on the screen. You know what I'm saying? And
all right.
We can hear you, and the computer's running good. So.
All right. So let me try it one more
price.
time.
Oh, okay.
There we go. So 652% over the last 20 years, 91% 5 year, 35% 1 year, right? Mm-hmm. So you guys can see here, gold has gone up more than silver.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see if we what this website is. Gold and silver ratio. All right, I'll have to find it somewhere, but it's over 100, guys. It's over 100 ounces of gold or 100 ounces of silver needed for
the ratio.
Ounce of gold. Crazy.
Yeah. The historical ratio is, safe to say 15 to 1, 10 to 1. I'm telling you, when it's all said and done, as this fiat debt-based Ponzi scheme, because that's really, we're just in a fiat debt-based Ponzi, okay? If you understand that the Federal Reserve creates debt, we call it money, right? And then the debt loses value the more debt or money they put into the system. And then you're taxed on that and everything else. It's just a big, fiat Ponzi scheme. But as it's collapsing, we're witnessing the house of cards, collapse right now. And when these markets start to collapse, as we're seeing the volatility in the bond market, derivatives market, things of that nature, is gold and silver, the ratio, and if you ask me, is going to be closer to 1 to 1. But right now, it's at 100 to 1. Okay, 102 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold, which is unbelievable. It's not real, especially with this economy that we're dealing with right now. So for us to be able to get silver right now, like actually smart people, right, would be taking their gold and buying silver, like for that conversion, because you know it's an inevitability. So it's actually a good time to sell gold for silver because you're getting way more silver. Now, in the short term, right now, I think gold is going to go much higher. They're still manipulating the silver, but I think as we get closer towards July, we're going to see a lot of the real, event take place in these markets because of Basel III compliance with banks and ISO compliance and, just the whole financial reset and everything that's being, put in place.
No, 100%. I think I have one pulled up. Yes. Okay. I have one pulled up here that won't crash us. That'll make it a little easier for people to see. And then we have an awesome video to share with you guys that will really turn some heads. What? All right.
Yep. And then, of course,
all right. I don't know what's going on here.
And then, of course, you guys know, you definitely reach out to us if you want to get physical silver and gold. Okay. You want to get it at the best prices. You want to get it shipped to your home. Listen, in this economy right now, I know a lot of people, want to create additional streams of income, want to acquire assets, because we're going to see something that the world has never seen before, in this reset. And we're watching it go down right now. I'm on Facebook right now telling people about China and how they're exposing these corporations for the massive 2,000% markup on these designer products that they're getting made for a couple of dollars in China, and people are paying tens of thousands of dollars for them here in the US. China say, you know what, just buy directly from the manufacturer, get it directly from us. Even with the tariffs, you're going to save money. So we're seeing a lot of things shift, a lot of things being exposed. This is very apocalyptic times, which is the Great Awakening. You know what I mean? Things are being exposed. The veil is being lifted. It's almost like when Dorothy went to go see the wizard, and then she realized that, behind all that smoke and thunder and clouds and on the big screen wasn't this big man. She looked around the corner and she realized that it was, this small little green man. The scam was being exposed. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing that TikTok, backpass privacy window, access to screen audio. Okay. Yeah, but TikTok, these social media platforms are exposing, what these companies are doing. And people are becoming more aware. They're waking up. They're realizing, hey, why are we doing this? It's propaganda. Social engineering. Edward Bernays. People have been buying into this marketing campaign propaganda to think that we got to buy these expensive ass bags for status. And China's like, nah. But yeah, I mean, we got, so this is what we're doing, man. We're going to make sure that we wake people up to the monetary system, how to get these assets and capitalize. And Mike got a great video for us, kind of breaking down a lot of this stuff when it comes to metal and where this thing is going.
Yeah. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mike.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and put it full screen. And I found this week, and this is wild, guys. And again, Andy Schechtman, who I think is the #1 guy in gold and silver, says prepare for the biggest bull run in history for silver. So this video is fire. M.I.M.S, I'll ask you to pause it a few times to kind of
let me know
into some more detail, but go ahead.
I got you.
Since several years now, for several years, we have not seen any central banks net buy bonds. More have sold than bought. They're all buying gold. And so this is a situation where I don't think we've seen anything yet. And maybe it's a realization by Trump that this is a game, as Zoltan Pozar says, he who has the gold makes the rules. He said Bretton Woods 3, we're moving into a system that's all about commodities and transparency. Blockchain, gold, we're moving there. So maybe Trump is ahead of the curve here and is onshoring our gold before it gets siphoned off across the globe, because we were so stupid in the West for all of these years to suppress gold and silver, playing right into the hands of the countries that are saying, thank you, we'll stand for delivery. And that's what's different than anything I've ever seen. These countries are sophisticated, motivated, coordinated, and wealthy. Give me the damn metal. I don't want more paper. What we see now is certainly intriguing and outside the norm. But when you start to see a run on these institutions, force majeure on the COMEX, God only knows what on the LBMA, I think it could get interesting, and maybe it's just tariffs. Don't know, but these are the times we live in. Very fluid, very interesting, certainly worth keeping your eye on the ball. Because we're talking about gold, look, many of the same things are happening with silver too, Ivan, and maybe in spades. To me, I'll just say this regarding silver, and I know that's what your listeners predominantly own and think about and research. Only the duality or plurality, that's a word, in demand between military and green and digital and monetary.
Yeah.
Set that's depleting in nature, increasing in demand, been held down in price forever, probably by the military industrial complex so they can make high-tech weapons. But whatever it is, I don't know that there's an asset that offers the upside that silver does with the mitigated downside. And we've seen, 14, 15 million ounces of silver stand for delivery recently also, if not more. I haven't seen what happened here just recently.
All right. So much there to go over. So the first thing I want you guys to understand is the price is being suppressed by, massive institutions and the big banks because they need it for the military industrial complex. 1,000 ounces of silver are needed for every Tomahawk missile. There is more scarcity, less silver coming out, more demand, more industrial use, more military use. And the other one, M.I.M.S, what was the other major point he made there?
Yeah, you're talking about the bonds. We're seeing that they're not buying the debt like they used to. They're buying the gold now. They're saying keep the paper.
Right.
They're saying we don't, and that's what we're seeing in the market. And he's saying, well, Trump, and certain people, they know this. And so now it's a game. It's a controlled demolition.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have to know what you're looking at. And this is what we're trying to explain to people, that this is a controlled demolition of the financial system, which was designed to collapse anyway. The Federal Reserve System was designed to confiscate the wealth of the people and enslave the people, through debt and interest, and to serve a few. And it has done that for over 100 years successfully. But now, because of the way the system works, it had, the evolution, the only thing constant in the universe is change. We're coming up on that. We're in that time period of change. And the monetary system, which is the greatest global event to happen in modern history, because of its ramifications, whether you're in the village or the city, whether you're on the east or the west, it doesn't matter. Everyone will be affected by this reset. And so what he was saying is that, look, we're seeing investment going in from central banks, going into the gold, going into the digital assets. So this is why we talk about the tokenization of the assets for the blockchain piece of it. This is why we talk about getting the physical gold and silver and showing you it's rising in value. And you look at the chart right now, you see the dollar losing value. You see the bond market going crazy. Less, interest in the debt market. You're seeing the tariff wars and trade wars. These are signs of what's coming. These are tremors before the big eruption, of this volcano, like a Pompeii. It's the tremors. And so, there's some people who are still partying and dancing and have a normalcy bias, complacency bias, suffering from cognitive dissonance. It don't matter what you say to them, don't matter what they see or feel. They just going to continue to do what they've been doing. And there's some people who are saying, hold on, this ain't right. I need to do something different. Okay. I need to get into the know. Okay, how do I get this asset? How does this work? I know I don't know nothing about the monetary system, but they say, hey, I'm ready to learn. Who going to teach me? Okay. So this is what we're here for. This is what we do these shows every single week, and we got our schools and universities. We try to help people get these assets, learn blockchain and crypto. The most undervalued asset right now is education in the blockchain and crypto space. People just don't know how to move, but this is where the world is going.
Yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to add is that the East is taking delivery, right? The Western banks are suppressing the price because they need to keep buying silver at such low prices. India and China are saying, forget the dollars. we're going to take physical delivery. So basically the East is draining the West of physical silver right now because the prices are so low. Silver prices are like $3 to $4 more an ounce in the East because they know what is going on and they're not playing the rig the market game like the West.
Yeah.
Recent commitment traders, but there's a lot of silver coming in to the U.S. as well. It's not just gold that's being imported. So as one goes, so too does the other. They have about a 90% correlation through all of history. Maybe not in perfect unison, but one won't go to the moon without the other. So I know we said gold, but I'm just as bullish and probably more bullish on potential on silver.
For years now, we've witnessed a quiet yet seismic transformation taking place just beneath the surface of the financial system. Central banks, those very institutions that for decades served as the backbone of fiat currency confidence, have been selling bonds and buying gold, not in dribs and drabs, not as a novelty, but in a sustained, calculated, and almost desperate wave, and not just any central banks. We're talking about the People's Bank of China, the Reserve Bank of India, the Central Bank of Turkey, even the Bundesbank and the Banque de France. You name it, they're all in on this shift. So why does this matter? Because we're no longer in a system where paper promises hold the same weight they once did. As Zoltan Posar aptly put it, he who has the gold makes the rules. That's not poetic license. That's the ground-level blueprint for Bretton Woods III, the new commodity-based monetary system rising from the ashes of over-leveraged fiat. Donald Trump may understand this better than many give him credit for. Maybe that's why his administration laid the foundation for tariffs and supply chain reshoring. Maybe that's why we've seen a wave of physical gold being imported into the United States at a scale never seen before. 13 million ounces from London alone in the past few months, with even more coming from Switzerland, Singapore, and other vaulted hubs. And this isn't just about investment. This is national strategy. In a world where trust is eroding, where inflation is sticky, debt is unpayable, and monetary policy is trapped, gold is the insurance policy, the final anchor.
Yeah, and
let's not forget what happened with Roosevelt in 1933. He confiscated private gold at $20.67 an ounce,
I like that.
only to immediately devalue the dollar by raising gold's price to $35. In doing so, he artificially boosted the government's balance sheet and reflated the system. Today, every central bank in the West still marks its gold reserves at either $35 or $42.22 per ounce, levels set in the 1970s.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And we were talking about this. That's why I mentioned earlier when I was saying that because the government is valuing the gold at $42 an ounce, when they reevaluate it, okay, they're not going to reevaluate it at $3,200. They're going to reevaluate this at a higher number in the tens of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
That's going to create a windfall of liquidity that the government needs to operate with. Okay. So we've done it before. Trump is playing a different game. He's the man to do it. He has the gonads to do it. Okay. And that's what we might see. That's what I've been hearing.
Meanwhile, we're looking at gold brushing up against $3,000 in real markets. So what happens if we do it again? What happens if the United States Treasury revalues its gold to even $10,000 per ounce? Well, based on current reserve estimates, around 261 million ounces, that would generate nearly $2.6 trillion in new liquidity. At $20,000, you're adding $5.2 trillion. That's real money, free and clear. And it doesn't even require raising taxes or issuing more debt. That's why central banks are doing it quietly while everyone else is watching Bitcoin or Tesla or Nvidia. They're not trying to ride the hype. They're preparing for the reset. Let's break this down even further.
Yeah.
Since last November, the United States has become a net importer of gold. Let that sink in. For decades, we were net exporters. Suddenly, the flow has reversed, and it's not small. The largest delivery ever recorded on the COMEX was in February, totaling nearly 6 million ounces, far surpassing the pandemic era.
Can you pause it?
Yeah.
So I just want everyone to understand that before the last few years, almost nobody took delivery because it's such a hassle, right? To have, 6 million?
Yeah.
Was that 6 million ounces of gold?
6 million ounces, yo.
Do you guys know
The weight
how much
on that, it's crazy.
space you need to have 6 million ounces of gold.
Yeah.
And so nobody would ever take delivery. They would settle in cash. But now, even the banksters, right? The huge hedge funds, the governments, they don't trust anything because they know it's all fake and fugazi. So that is why you see the saying of he who owns the gold makes the rules. That's why everyone's taking delivery now. That's why you can't get delivery of silver until 6 to 8 weeks. Do you guys understand that? If you try to get silver delivered to you from the COMEX, if you're a huge institution or a bank, they're saying it's 6 to 8 weeks, and their excuse is we don't have enough trucks. That's all I had to laugh at.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's crazy, folks. This is the stuff behind the scenes that people don't realize. Like, you will only know this information if you're plugged into these markets, in this industry, if you're following people like us, you know, and getting this type of information. This is the type of information that can change your life, because you understand what's going on behind the scenes, under the surface. You know, why they got everybody focused on the hustle and bustle, right? You're missing key things that can give you an indication of what's to come, so you can prepare in the now, so you can benefit and prosper, right, from what's coming, as opposed to be a victim, you know, and suffer from what's to come. Unfortunately, a lot of people are going to suffer from what's to come because they have no real money. They have no real assets. They're not getting educated on the new financial system. So they're going to be trapped. They're going to be stuck in whatever they have ready for them. And it's not going to be what they would want for themselves if they could draw out their own future.
2020 deliveries of 1.2 million ounces, and even blowing past the second highest mark of 4.8 million. That's not normal. That's historic. And look who's involved. J.P. Morgan delivering $4 billion worth of gold into the COMEX system for an undisclosed client. J.P. Morgan doesn't hold gold for itself. It explicitly states that it only acts on behalf of customers. So who's got the dry powder and the conviction to drop $4 billion on physical gold delivered into New York? Your guess is as good as mine.
$4 billion.
But I'd wager it's someone close to the Treasury or Federal Reserve, someone who knows what's coming. Now pair that with what's happening in London. The LBMA, supposedly the most liquid gold market in the world, is suddenly 6 to 8 weeks late on deliveries. Not T+1, like it's supposed to be, but T+40. And the excuse, not enough trucks, not enough manpower. Come on. If it smells like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's probably a duck. That, my friends, is a default in slow motion. Now, don't think for a second that this story ends with gold. Silver is every bit as much a part of this transformation, and perhaps even more explosive in terms of price potential. Silver has a dual identity. It's both a monetary metal and an industrial one. And where gold is accumulating quietly in vaults, silver is being consumed by the military, by solar panels, by 5G tech, by electric vehicles. You don't get it back. Once it's used, it's gone. That's what makes silver so fascinating. There's a critical shortage looming. The Silver Institute reports massive structural deficits over the last several years. India alone has imported over 800 million ounces of silver in just the past 5 years. That's more than the total silver inventories of COMEX and LBMA combined. And while central banks aren't directly buying silver like they are gold, it's likely because they can't. There's no vault large enough and no strategic reason to hoard what is quickly becoming a consumed asset. So it's being quietly scooped up by sovereign wealth funds, military contractors, and industrial players who know what's coming. And let me ask you, if silver was just some archaic relic, why is it that 15 million ounces recently stood for delivery on the COMEX? Why are Indian refiners scrambling to secure forward contracts? Why are U.S. mints reporting months-long delivery delays? It's because, as with gold, something very big is shifting.
Wow.
This is going to be massive, man. People have no idea what is coming because they have been playing us for decades. They have been suppressing the price. Even people into gold and silver, you know, we all have the memes of, you know, still waiting for silver to take off with, you know, a picture of a skeleton sitting on a bench. But that's what they want, guys.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the most valuable asset in the world is underpriced, because they don't want you to pay attention of it, and they want to get as much of it as possible. JP Morgan Chase is the #1 owner of the most silver in the entire world.
Yeah. They're sitting on like 800 million ounces or something crazy of silver. You know, but JP Morgan, you know, they've been fined. Their traders have went to jail for rigging the precious metals market. They've been fined up to $1 billion. So understand something. They have been for decades now rigging and manipulating the price down. Now it's coming to a point where the rigging and manipulation is coming to an end. They can't hide it. They can't suppress it any much longer. People are demanding the physical. And now the paper contracts and the derivatives and this paper Ponzi game is coming to an end. It's being exposed, you know, and the ramifications of that are generational. You know, the ramifications are that, you know, are legacy building, because we will never see the price of silver and gold at these prices again as this shift continues to move forward. You will never see these digital and physical assets at these prices again. That's why it's important to know what you hold. That's why it's important you do this research on these assets. This is why we talk about tokenization. This is why we talk about ISO compliant blockchains. What is the blockchain that Larry Fink is talking about? Or what are the blockchains, the interoperable blockchains, okay, the compliant blockchains that Larry Fink is talking about that is going to be tokenizing these real world assets? You know, what are these blockchains that the governments and banks, central banks of the world are going to be using to transact globally? You know, what are those blockchains? We have access to them, but it's that information that most people have no idea of what's to come and what assets they need to hold. So this is why, you know, we always say this is the most significant time period in history. You need to get educated. Okay. You need to plug in. You need to get these physical and digital assets. There's a massive shift taking place right now in the financial system. The dollar is not what it used to be. It's losing its credibility and status across the globe. That's why we're seeing gold rise. That's why we're seeing this Trump administration advance rapidly with blockchain technology, wanting to make us the crypto capital of the world, because everything is going on chain. All trade will be done on chain. All trade. We're talking about trade wars right now. Everything will be done on a blockchain. All the trade, everything will be done on a blockchain. Get educated and acquire the digital assets of those blockchains so you can benefit from this wealth transfer.
That's a Don DeMarco, man. I wish I had my my soundboard on right now. But it's like I always say, M.I.M.S, every day the price of silver is under $100, you should just thank the banksters for rigging it, that we can still get the #1 asset in the world. M.I.M.S, I'm looking at our dealer right now where we get our gold and silver.
Yeah.
We can get an ounce of silver for $33.54. That's $1.15 over spot. That's like unheard of, especially now when people are so buying so much of it, and it's just even hard to get, you know, physical stuff. $1.15 over spot. Gold is trading at almost $3,300 an ounce. And you can get an ounce of silver for $33. The gold to silver ratio is 100-1. Historically, it was like 8-14-1. If it just goes back to that puts silver at $500 an ounce. If gold to silver ratio goes to 1-15, silver is over $500. And that's just with gold staying at its price it is right now. So again, guys, we just stay consistent. Yeah. Constantly, continuously, consistently, as M.I.M.S always says. Yeah. Getting our wealth in these precious metal assets and digital assets. So again, guys, sorry for the technical difficulties tonight. Maybe it's better without my face on here. I don't know. I feel like I can be more honest and open. So maybe next time I'll get an avatar and just
incognito, huh?
Troll everyone. You won't even know who I am. I'll do like Kanye, just wear a black suit.
Black suit, right? Speaking facts.
But anyways, guys, I'm telling you, everything will be on the blockchain. If you want to get a node that's paying you digital rewards every day and help facilitate the transfer of wealth from the fake Fugazi system into trust and transparency with the blockchain and getting your own gold and silver, reach out to one of us or whoever shared this video with you, because we have the best connections in this space to make sure you don't ever pay and get the best stuff there is. With that, M.I.M.S, I'll let you close out.
Yeah, folks. So like Mike started off, he said, you know, was it tax day, April 15th, for the chief IRS guy just resigned as well. We got massive resignations. They're getting decommissioned. Okay. Like I said, there's a major shift, you know, right now. Trump wants to get rid of income tax. It's no more the IRS. It's the External Revenue Service. That's how it should be anyway. You know, there's the only way that, you know, you're going to make this country great again is by giving the money back to the people. You know what I mean? Not taxing us to death, you know, to pay for the Federal Reserve. You know what I mean? We already know what this is, you know. So, you know, this is the time, man. It's the time to like stay active, stay plugged in, get right. You know what I mean? It's definitely going to be a lot of more chaos and uncertainty. But if you operate in a certain frequency, if you're on a certain level of consciousness, a lot of that will kind of just bypass you and you will be on the opposite, you know, side of that trade because, you know, there has to be balance in the force. So it's not going to be chaos everywhere. There's some people who are going to benefit from this and create generational wealth and create legacy. And you know, there's some people who are going to get, you know, like I said, wiped out and adversely affected from this. You know, it's always like that. You know, when markets crash, you know, value doesn't just go to zero. It doesn't just disappear. In 2008, when, you know, the markets crashed, the money didn't just disappear. It went somewhere. It went to somebody else's hands. You know, it went to the few who shorted and capitalized on that market at that time, who knew what was coming. It was a great wealth transfer for those who knew what was coming. This is a great wealth transfer for those who know what's coming right now for the time that we're in. And so the only way that, you know, like I say, you don't know what you don't know, and you won't know unless somebody tells you. Well, you won't be able to say the runners ain't try to tell you. We've been telling you to get silver and gold for years. We've been telling you to get into this, get educated on blockchain and crypto, start acquiring certain digital assets. Okay. We've been plugging you into platforms and systems to create additional streams of income. We're so far ahead of the masses. Most people just have no idea what's going on. They don't even have a clue. They don't even know who to follow or where to start. And we make ourselves accessible. Phone calls, schools, systems. So look, it gets greater, better later. You know what I'm saying? You better run when the runners run. We got some stuff that's coming out here in the next couple of days and weeks that we're rolling out that we're excited about because it just adds more value, you know, to help people create some income and things of that nature, add more value to the community. So yeah, with that being said, we're going to catch you guys on the next Runners Live show next Tuesday, 10:15. Everybody have a great night. Lace up. Let's get wealthy.
Peace.
Peace.